Congratulations, New York City. It's a first. It's absolutely unprecedented. For the first time ever, you have a statue with diabetes. I guess the statue couldn't be bothered to dress up for the occasion. And she has her hands on her hips and seems to be kind of pissed off about the whole thing. I hate to say it, but the statue looks like she has a serious attitude problem. Is she applying for a job at Frontier Airlines? Really cutting against the stereotypes, aren't we? Why not just have her holding a plastic bag of stolen iPhones? What an inspiration to young, frumpy, surly black women with African-American studies majors everywhere. This statue really doesn't belong in Times Square. It belongs in a Golden Corral. When reality becomes a South Park episode, it's not good.
Ah, here's a good one. It's the stereotypical sleepy Mexican.
Whoa, what? Oh, man, what time is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a wax sculpture.
The left really has a statue fetish. There's this obsession with people of color and for people of concrete and for those people of concrete to be people of color. When's it going to stop? You might shrug and say, yeah, but it's just a statue. But remember, statues are a very big deal to the left. Remember when Trump was grilled about this subject? It's like a hoax memory lane.
To them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name.
Wait, Robert E. Lee are not the same.
No, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him? Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now we're going to take down his statue.
Editor's note, they did take down his statue.
So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
So we've seen how far the left will go if they could. Actually, I shouldn't say that, because when it comes to how far they'll go, it's a bottomless pit of contradiction where anything could be rationalized. To them, whites are evil, particularly white men. They created an evil system, so people of accomplishment in an evil system do not deserve to be celebrated. They don't deserve to be studied, appreciated, modeled. It strikes me as interesting and no accident that George M. Cohan is being, quote, contrasted by Miss Sassy Polyester Pants over here. Cohan was all about American patriotism. And so was Father Francis Duffy, who risked his life in war. As a wartime priest, he was dedicated to both God and country. So now both are being trolled. How nice. I mean, really, you could have picked black women of accomplishment, which would probably still be motivated and pandering, but at least it would make sense. There have been accomplished black women on Broadway, who have been celebrated, by the way, like Lena Horne. There is a Lena Horne theater. Do you see the diff? When Michael Jordan or Denzel Washington is celebrated, it's genuine celebration for excellence. But then there's statues or awards, which is really just a leftist spitting in the face of American culture. And that's what people can sense, and that's where people draw the line. We don't need affirmative action statues. The fact that New York has one now must mean that a bunch of Asian statues got screwed over again. Speaking of statues, we got to see Biden freeze up like one again. He appeared on The View, and you would think that he was being interviewed by Medusa. To be fair, he wasn't being interviewed by Medusa. He married her instead.
Claim in your final year there was a dramatic decline in your cognitive abilities in the final year of your presidency. What is your response to these allegations, or are these sources wrong?
They are wrong.
This is all in response to Jake Tapper's new book about how Biden declined in the final year of his presidency. The final year of his presidency?
Nothing to sustain that. Number one. Number two, think of what we were left with. We were left with a circumstance where we had an insurrection when I started. We did not sense a civil war. We had a circumstance where we were in a position that the pandemic, because of the incompetence of the last outfit, end up over 1 million people dying. 1 million people dying. Well,
listen.
I talk too long, I'm out of time. We know what that means.
One of the things I think is that the people who wrote those books were not in the White House with us.
Yeah, the whole thing could actually have been resolved right away. Hey, listen, Joe, just answer this. What's my name? Well, here's Here's the thing. You know what? I'm going to have a BLT with a club soda. Okay. What's 8 times 7? Yeah, that's a club soda. Anyway, I'm out of time. Ultimately, I think the media thinks that we're the ones who are cognitively impaired. That you can't weave those complex thoughts and memories together. When it comes to Biden's mental decline,
You know the thing.
we've known the thing for years. The media certainly knew the thing, and they hid the thing. More importantly, they also knew that Biden was corrupt as hell. They knew his son was a perverted, druggy criminal, conducting more criminality for his father and family. They tried to pass him off as a troubled but gifted artist, who also owned an incriminating laptop that turned out to be Russian disinformation. They knew that thing, they knew all the things, and are trying to spin the thing so that you'll continue to listen to the new things. The people who lied to you are still lying to you. It's not past tense. And now for a quick word of slight desperation. I am kind of begging and kind of pleading for you to please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate everybody and all the good word of mouth, but if you'd like to go even further, then please go to my Patreon page at patreon.com/jokesandappoint. I'd like to thank the newest member, Bud. Thank you, Bud. I'm working on some merch. I'll get the hang of this stuff, so stick with me.
Yeah.
So Trump is taking in genuine asylum seekers. 1,000 South African farmers are being relocated to America, and the left is absolutely fine with it. 2 major problems. 1, the refugees are white. 2, they're not gang members, they're farmers. That's a deal breaker.
It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. White or black makes no difference to me, but white farmers are being brutally killed and their land is being confiscated.
There happen to be 142 anti-white laws in South Africa. Lots of horrific murders. But look, here's the leader of South Africa. He should put your mind at ease about the whole issue.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we have not called for the killing of white people, at least for now.
Okay, let's not be all judgy, all right? He's simply hedging his bets a little, just like all politicians do. He wants to give himself a little wiggle room on the subject. Clearly, an advisor told him, ixnay on the NO side, Jay. He's not going to promise white genocides unless he can deliver. And that's just good leadership. What might happen here is what often happens when the left goes after Trump. Trump brings attention to issues that the left desperately wants to ignore. The left will condemn Trump as a bona fide liar, racist, and con man, but it will force public conversation, which will then force investigation and fact-gathering, which then brings about needed public awareness and education. Eventually, it becomes undeniable that Trump was essentially correct, and then the cycle repeats. Remember, it was only about 2 seconds ago that the media was promising an economic collapse because of Trump's tariffs. The meteor was supposed to hit and then doomsday was upon us all. The media leaned heavily into that. But then we got economic data and the Trump haters felt much pain. A lot of it. Like a really good jobs report, a really good inflation report. That wasn't supposed to happen.
That minus 1/10 was a 5-year low.
There was a UK trade deal. And then you had the news with China.
Yesterday, and they've yielded a major breakthrough in terms of China's tariffs on U.S. goods. It's now going to come down to 10%. The U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods going to drop from 145% to 30% because you've still got some levies on fentanyl.
Notice her mentioning that there's an added penalty for fentanyl. Pretty amazing that Trump is the only president who seems to care about that. Of course, the Democrats and their media are saying that Trump caved. But when Trump started this whole thing, China was charging us an 8% tariff, and we were charging them 3%. And now we're charging China 30%, and China's charging us 10%. So how is that caving? And another thing to remember, if Trump's tariffs are so catastrophic, then why did Biden keep them all in place? We have Trump making deals in the Middle East, tearing into previous administrations, Democrat and Republican.
In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built.
It's refreshing to see a president meeting with world leaders where he isn't bowing or looking like a toddler wandering off in a supermarket. And more importantly, for a president who pushes the idea of peace without sounding weak.
I have never believed in having permanent enemies. I am different than a lot of people think.
Naturally, the media will be lying about Trump every step of the way. And then in 2029, we'll get the New York Times bestseller, Trump Was Great and I Was Full of Shit, by Jake Tapper. Thanks for watching. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. Be sure to pass around to anybody who might like my content. And I'll see you the next time.